Tears filled her eyes. She bent down to whisper to Eli, "Mommy just got a new job." "You said the cafe in the Columbus Police Community Outreach Center didn't look like much when Eliza first arrived. Four mismatched tables, a single broken espresso machine, and a cracked menu board with faded chalk. But it had something Sonny Lane didn't have: a mission. And that mission grew. The place was renamed. They heard it wasn't just a cafe, it became a symbol, a crossroad between law enforcement and the police, a space for understanding, healing, and breaking bread together. Walter Guinness was the first customer. On opening day, he brought six other veterans with him, all wearing their old caps and proud grins. They sat shoulder to shoulder with off-duty officer, kids from the neighborhood, and even ex-inmates trying to start over. Eliza, wearing a new red and white apron, gifted by the department, walked the table like a general on the field, but one whose weapons were smiles, warmth, meals, and grace. Soon they had a donation box titled, "Pay what you can, eat what you need." No one abused it, no one went hungry. The first few weeks, Eliza worked 12 hours. Equipment broke down, shipments got delayed, and one week they ran out of eggs completely. But the community rallied. A local grocer donated supplies. A group of retired teachers came in to help clean and organize. A group of formerly homeless men offered to board, stable, and sweep. One day, Officer Monroe stopped by the cafe and noticed a sign on the wall. It read, "Kindness is not a policy, it is a principle." He nodded. "That's yours." Eliza smirked. Walter's word, my handwriting. Walter had become a regular. He sat near the window, always with a coffee and a crossword. Sometimes he helped Eli with math homework. Sometimes he just listened to people who had no one else. "I'm not just eating anymore," Hidu said. "I'm healing." A month into her new life, Eliza received a letter in the mail. It was from a woman named Darlene Jenkins, a waitress from Texas. "Dear Eliza, I saw your story online. Last week, I fed a homeless veteran who was shaking in the rain. I remembered what you did. My boss didn't fire me. He thanked me and then he offered the man a job. You started something. I just wanted you to know." Eliza pressed the letter to her chest and wept. One small act of kindness and becomes a movement. She had just closed up the hearth for the evening and was about to settle in with Eli when someone rang the bell. Wiping her hands on a table, she opened the door. There, under the porch light, stood a woman in her late 50s, holding a small suitcase and an envelope. "Eliza Monroe?" she asked with a nervous smile. "Yes." The woman looked down, then met her gaze again. "My name is Janet Guinness. I'm Walter's daughter." Eliza froze. "Walter never mentioned you." Janet nodded. "He wouldn't have. We've been estranged for over 20 years." 100 thoughts raced through Eliza's head. What had happened between them? Why now? "I've been following the news, watching you, watching him. I didn't know whether to cry or call." Janet paused, "But I had to come." They sat at Eliza's kitchen table, cups of tea in hand. Janet's hand trembled slightly. "My father was a good man, but the war, it changed him. When Mom died, he fell into a darkness none of us could reach." She swallowed. "He started drinking, got bitter, closed off." Eliza listened silently, heart aching. "He left. No note, no calls. For years, I wondered if he was even alive." Then she slid the envelope across the table. "He sent me this 2 days ago, for the first time in decades." Eliza opened it. Inside was a handwriting letter, Walter's handwriting. "Dear Janet, I met someone named Eliza. She reminded me of the father I wanted to be, the man I buried when I thought I had nothing left to give. If I don't make it, tell her she gave me my soul back, and tell you I never stopped loving you. I was just too broken to say it. Eliza's hand trembled. Janet was crying now. I wanted to see him. The next morning, Eliza arranged for Walter to come by the cafe early before the crowd arrived. When he walked in and saw Janet, he stopped dead in his track. She rose slowly. Hi, Dad. His eyes welled instantly. He whispered, Janet? She nodded. I got your letter. He glimpsed towards her like a man walking through time. Then he dropped his cane and wrapped her in a hug so tight, Eliza thought they might never let go. I'm sorry, he said over and over. Janet wept into his shoulder. Me too. Everyone in the room was crying, even Eli, though he didn't quite know why. Eliza turned away to give them privacy, but in her heart, she knew this cafe didn't just serve food, it saved forgiveness. 2 weeks after Janet and Walter's emotional reunion, Eliza arrived at the Heart to find a parking lot packed with news van. Inside, Officer Monroe handed her a neatly folded note. You are trending again, he said, smiling. National. The note was from a producer at the Ellen DeGeneres show. They wanted to fly her and Eli out for an interview. The woman who turned the firing into a fire of compassion. Later that day, she received an email from a non-profit organization called Global Kind, offering to fund expansion for the Heart model nationwide. We believe community cafes can heal fractured cities. It read, we want you to lead the movement. Eliza stared at the mail, stunned. She'd gone for a single mother barely scraping by a national symbol of hope. Walter, sitting by the window, smiled knowingly. Sometimes your calling whispers, other time it shouts through headlines. That night, Eliza couldn't sleep. The offer haunted her. If she accepted, she didn't need to travel, speak, possibly relocate. But what about the original cafe, the community that built her? What living mean abandoning what matters most? She turned to Walter for advice. You think I should go national? She asked him as they watched Eli play in the corner. Walter chuckled. Let me ask you something instead. He leaned forward. Are you building a cafe or a movement? The question hit hard. Eliza looked around at the veterans joking over chess, the officer washing dishes, the recovering audit helping kids with homework. This isn't a cafe, she whispered. It's a revolution in disguise. Walter nodded. Then build a longer table. Let others eat too. Eliza made her choice. At the end of the month, town meeting, she stood in front of her community with tears in her eyes. I started this with a spatula and a prayer, she said. You gave me purpose, and now I've been asked to bring that purpose to more places. I'm not leaving you, I'm spreading you. She handed the new cafe keys to Tasha, a former waitress from Sunny Lane who had supported her from day one. You've got the apron now. Eliza smiled. They cried. They hugged. Walter stood to salute her, and the entire room followed. 6 months later, Eliza stood backstage in a New York auditorium, moments away from delivering the keynote at the Global Kind Summit. The woman who once cried behind a corner of Sunny Lane was now a national voice for compassion, dignity, and second chances. She do help launch 12 new heart cafes across different cities. Each one followed the same motto, carved into every word. No one eats alone. No one eats in shame. Walter couldn't make the trip. His health had declined, but he sent a letter. She kept close to her heart. You made people believe again, Eliza, not in you, in themselves. Eli sat in front now, grinning like the proudest son alive. He wore a tiny suit and held a sign that read, That's my mom. Eliza stood the stage, hands trembling slightly, and looked out at a sea of people ready to hear her truth. The final surprise, after her standing ovation, she stepped off stage and was immediately ushered towards a surprise presentation. The announcer's voice boomed through the auditorium. We've heard a special guest tonight, one whose life was forever changed because a woman chose kindness over rules. From the side door walked a man in uniform, clean shaven, strong posture, steady steps. It was Walter Guinness. The audience gasped. Eliza dropped her bag. Walter walked slowly, leaning on a new cane, one engraved with her name. He reached her and whispered, "I wasn't going to miss this." Then he pulled out a folded document and handed it to her. It was a certificate of honorary adoption. He had legally declared Eliza his daughter. Symbolic, yes, but permanent in the eyes of the law. "You fed a stranger," he said, "and gave me a family." One last quote, one last lesson. That night, back in her hotel room, Eliza opened her journal and wrote the final page of the story she'd been living. You can't always choose what happened to you, but you can choose what you serve the world in return. Serve kindness, always, even when it costs you everything, because one plate can change a lifetime. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please, if you enjoyed this video, do well to give this video a thumbs up. Hit the subscription button. If you've ever experienced what Eliza experienced before now, please go down to the comment section and drop down your thoughts. Share your stories. Let the world be motivated. Remember to turn on your notification bell so that anytime we post any videos, you will always be notified of all our stories. Thank you for always stopping by. Thank you for all our subscribing audience. Thank you for always tuning in.